G'day, mates. Welcome back to the Sorare DownUnder podcast. I'm coming to you from the beautiful Melbourne. Alistair looks like he's in a prison cell, but Alistair, it's good to have you back. Glad they gave you some time out of your cell to come record the ep this week.
Yeah, look, good behaviour for the week. So out in the rec yard now, just me and the boys just kicking back. Look, it's been tough ever since the sentence was handed down, but the podcast must go on.
Mate, tell us, where are you? Because it's not the beautiful Gold Coast that we're used to seeing you with a nice backdrop of a beautifully well-lit room with heaps of natural light. You're in some weird brick-looking building in the middle of nowhere. Tell us a little bit what's going on.
Well, it's not that exciting. It really shows my commitment to this Sorare podcast. So all 25 of you out there who are listening to this intently, you're welcome. I am just traveling back from a work trip and kind of just stuck in a small country town population of about 7. Couldn't spot any dinner spots on the way in, so I might be going hungry tonight, but I'm going to be feasting on our Sorare discussion, so it's all good.
Amazing. If there was any reason or motivation to subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to the Spotify, it is this, the dedication that we're going to bring you these weekly
That's
eps,
right.
so you don't miss out on any of our in-depth Sorare discussion.
That's right. I'm recording from a jail cell, so give us a like.
Mate, it was another tough week on this Sorare front. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, we started pretty brightly. I know your game week sort of was ruined right from the get-go. There's nothing worse than Saturday morning, you wake up, and 2 out of your best lineups are already dead.
Yeah, it was a real go f*** on a weekend. I think that's the best way to sum it up. Twitter is ablaze with go f***s. I think it was a real go f*** weekend for everyone else. I'll bleep all these go f***s out, so it's okay. Don't worry. Kiddies at home.
You're going to have your...
didn't start.
I was just going to say, you've really cut yourself up for some work here with the editing, but I love it. Keep going with your go tangent, please.
That's right. As long as we don't throw in too many more go should be fine. I'm pretty good with the old beeper there, so we should be all good. So no more go fucks. But yeah, it just went badly. It was one of those weekends where I'd given up by about midway through Saturday afternoon. And then it just kind of got worse from there. I did actually manage to pull a few rewards. It's in saying that, but nothing too exciting to write home about. What about yourself?
Brought home my very first ever tier 5. Obviously, the new tiers coming in. Managed to scrape in by 0.6 of a point. They always say congratulations. Again, the man is becoming a cult hero. Buttery Joe, more like, lock it down Joe. 3 clean sheets in a row. We thought it couldn't be done.
Down, Joe.
The man continues to deliver. Super Glue Joe.
Oh, it's all sticky.
It's just, I had some regret. It was purely my fault. I'm horrible at Sorare. I'm terrible at the game. Not putting in Tom Hay. I went for the lure that Lucas Zelarayan offers of that potential 100, and he gave me a big fat 33. Had I put in Tom Hay, I probably would have been coming home with a tier 3.
Yeah, it's that's Zeller for you. He's gonna bring you up, and then he's gonna let you down.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down.
He likes to bang hundreds when he's not in a lineup, that's for sure. Yeah, so tell us all about this tier 5. So I think the talk of the town this week, I think we can all agree. The last couple of months have been rough. There's been complaints. There's been people leaving the platform. There's been Twitter meltdowns. There's been go fucks. Leave that one out. But this week, everyone's happy. Everyone got good rewards. Everyone's opening these rewards. It's like Christmas Day. Everyone's opening, these incredible tier 3s that they never thought were possible.
I'm winning.
And you were a worthy recipient of a pretty good tier 5, I must say.
Yeah, exactly. Considering I'm pretty sure I was one of the very last rewards in all of All-Star, I mean, flashback 4 months ago, that is a guy who's come off the bench once 2 weeks ago from the Chilean league, and he's 45 years old. Here I am pulling, Mario Hermoso, a defender from Atletico Madrid. Nothing crazy, but for the bottom of tier 5, baby, we will take it. We'll take that shit.
So you've got a champion Europe defender who starts for one of the best clubs in Europe as a tier 5. So I it's quite funny to see all this unravel after you pulled that card, because I was quite surprised that you got such a good card for coming so low. Turns out the next day, Sorare released a statement saying, we screwed all that up. People who were meant to get tier 5s got tier 3s. It was all kind of, everyone got way too much, like the cards they got were way too good. And that won't be happening again. So,
you're kidding.
After the first time in, I think, the history of Sorare, everyone's happy with their rewards. And then they come out and say, yeah, sorry about that. That was a mistake. We'll never be doing that again.
Are you saying boo or boo-earns?
Oh no! so mate, if this was the 1 week for me to have not played the wrong dude and actually got a good reward, I could have. I'm assuming everyone else was getting Messi's, right? If I'm getting Mario in a tier 5, tier 2s, you're getting a Mbappe super rare.
I think so. Yeah, you really missed it. I mean, how do you think I feel? This is the 1 week I decided to do terribly. I pulled a tier 5, and it's just a straight tier 5. There was no, I didn't get any here's a Karim Benzema accidentally. I didn't get any of that. I got all rubbish.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay.
So yeah, it's quite frustrating to think if only we had been better at this game this 1 week, we could have been walking out of here with a pair of Mbappe super rares.
Sorry guys, I was gonna, kick it up the other end and just put one right in their fucking goal hole, but no dice.
Now, I do have a problem with this, though, and I know you made fun of me during the week because you were giving me shit saying, I put the wrong guy in, you're an idiot, you stuffed up, you cost yourself heaps. And I said, look, I actually did do the right thing. I wasn't sure if Tom Hay was going to be back. I didn't want any uncertainties in my best lineup, as we learnt the week before. I wasn't sure if he got over his, tuberculosis or whatever it was that he'd gotten the week before. And I wasn't sure if he was going to come back. Osteoporosis.
Guys, my bones are getting squishy.
Close enough. And the man comes back on the bench. Now, I'm also the most unlucky player in the world. Of course, he gets an assist and bangs out a 70 off the bench. But my logic was correct in that he was coming off the bench. Therefore, I am a genius. I'm just not rewarded for it. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
Yeah, well, I mean, if that doesn't... I hear a lot of people out there in the Sorare world talking about, he's a good Sorare manager. He knows what he's doing. He plays good lineups.
My name's John Nellis.
That is the prime example of how no skill is involved in this whatsoever.
My name's John Nellis.
Lucas Celerayán against Toronto, who have been a pretty defensively weak team historically. That's your option versus Tom Hay. His bones are still weak from the osteoporosis. He's coming off the bench against Ajax. I think you made the right decision, but ultimately you made the wrong decision, and that's why you've got a Mario Hermoso and not an Mbappe super rare.
And I'll never forgive myself. Ever.
And you shouldn't.
Yeah, it's tough. But we move on.
We move onwards and upwards. I guess we should probably talk about our favourite boys in green.
And here for Underdog.
Our boys, some slightly more green than others, it must be said.
A lot of yellow for our green boys. This week. Maxi Arnold was suspended for being a dick. Jonas Wind got the starting spot back, so things are looking up in windy Blastfast Town.
I am the angry crab of trapped wind. Ooh!
Except he didn't score any goals, though.
That is the problem about Windy. He doesn't score goals. I don't think I've ever seen him score a goal.
Loves to play, loves to run out with the boys, not scoring heaps of goals for a starting striker.
No, weirdly, he's the only professional striker in world soccer that's never scored a goal.
Ooh, burn!
But I believe in Windy. I believe in the Cyclone. I believe that he can do it for us this weekend. I think we've got our full stack back. Everyone's back on deck, so I've got high hopes. But otherwise, pretty shite from the Wolfsburg boys this weekend.
Yeah, look, they've been a little bit underwhelming. I'm certainly glad we didn't go all in and buy a rare stack. They've been very underwhelming. But I will say this, Alistair. Jonas, Windy Boy, he might be the next Nicholas Storm. Now, for those that know Nicholas Storm, plays for Mechelen in the Jupiler League. Now, this is a man that when he is on fire. You cannot stop the man. He's scoring goals. He's getting assists. He's racking up double decisives. But, as you know too well, Alistair, Nicholas Storm, if he gets in a form slump, the man forgets how to play football. Maybe our boy Jonas Wind is in a form slump and he, like the king that is Nicholas Storm, will come back triumphant and start banging in goals alongside Maxi Arnold. I'm seeing it. I can see the future, mate.
I like to think of, this is a bit of a Pokemon evolution in which you've got, your basic starter model in Jonas Wind, Windy Boy. He then, under the light of the full moon, evolves into Nicholas Storm, and then eventually you get Johnny Hurricane.
It's evolving. Sure.
I haven't seen Johnny Hurricane's Sorare cards. I don't think they've been minted yet, but I mean that's really what we're aiming for. So I think if we can just continue to nurture our small child Jonas, one day he could become a mighty hurricane.
That's right, Alistair. We've got to keep the faith, and one day we will get to that Wolfsburg Pin. I don't want you to lose hope. That Wolfsburg Pin is not out of our reach just yet. We still have a hope. I can't wait to wear it proudly.
And I wear the badge because it's a job that I enjoy doing.
So last week we discussed where do we see Sorare in 5 years. This week it's all about the end of Europe. Europe's coming to an end. MLS, Asia, Brazil, all the likes, they're going to come to the forefront. That's going to be the main football that's happening, apart from, I think, was it Norway? And that's where everyone's going to turn their attention. Now, of course, you and I, we both have a couple of European players. We know that Europe is the safety blanket of good scores. But with what comes with that is these guys are actually good at football and could get a transfer at any minute. Yes,
the transfer window is, enough to send a shiver down the spine of any Sorare manager. It's taken some of my most prized possessions from me in the past. It's caused me to make many panicked, negotiations on Discord where I've sold someone for pennies after buying them for thousands of dollars. Look, it's the worst time of year, and I think everyone is kind of just pretending that it's not coming, but it's coming, baby, and it's going to break some hearts. But it can also create some great opportunities. So I think today would just be a good opportunity to dive into who's coming off contract, who's, looking hot on the summer European transfer market, and see if we can try and help everyone get ahead of that kind of panic couple of weeks in June. So you've put together a couple of players that you reckon could get an unfavorable move. What have you got?
Yeah. So we've got a couple. Firstly, kick off in the Italian league. Randall Colo Massani. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm notorious for saying names perfectly. He and alongside every man and his dog are linked quite heavily to Man United. So the forward from Milan, absolutely crushing it this year. I think he's valued at around 0.45.
Milani?
There you go. Oh,
playing for Frankfurt. I don't know where you got Milan from.
So close. So close.
Are you showing your encyclopedic knowledge of football again, Simon?
I don't understand nothing today.
Randall Colo Massani from Inter Milan. It's a good start.
It's a good start. Better, okay, man. Come on.
Carry on.
Anyway, yeah, linked to Man United, who I'm assuming is in the Premier League. I clearly know nothing. But yeah, 24 years of age. I think they're offering a fair chunk of money to get him across. I think $120 million for the French striker.
Wow. Scored some goals there for a while. Got a couple of red cards. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Let's add him to the list.
He's dead!
Creating a watch list, which you can all join. We're going to add a few more to it today. But yeah, look, if you follow that watch list, you can add any to there that you like. Okay, what's next?
Now, this one I'm pretty confident I got the right team. This man's actually been crushing it in the Champions League. Victor Osimhen from Napoli, also linked to United. Unlike our boy Randall there, this man has actually been crushing. Like, look at his scores. Whew. Look at those greens.
Napoli and Benfica have been the two stacks to have this year. They've just been destroying everyone. Currently going for 0.82, so you're right. I can absolutely see him going to somewhere like Man U. I think he probably will still do well, but you've got to think he's a Julian Alvarez type where he might come off the bench, every second or third game. So definitely a future dead guy.
He's dead!
And sticking on the Napoli theme, this name is going to give me nightmares, but Kavica Kretskalia? Can you help me out in that department?
That's exactly... God, can you spell it? There he is. Let's just call him Karen. All right, so Karen, tell us about him.
So Karen, under 23, also just like our boy Victor, has been crushing for Napoli. Another one that is heavily linked to Europe again, Man United. They're in the conversation. Be interesting to see how many of these potential targets they pick up. But he, like you said, could be another one that dominates in the in Serie A. He's also done very well in Champions League, mind you, but it's a whole other step if he gets a Premier League move,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's still... he's only 22 years old. Good Lord. Napoli have got some absolute wonder kids. It's I think you're right. The only way for this guy to go is the Premier League. He's not going to go down. Maybe they can keep him at Napoli, but yeah, you'd have to think someone who's scoring with this regularity is going to get snapped up.
He's dead!
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Napoli does actually. Like, if they sell all of these guys, do you just sell them and have this massive war chest? Like, obviously they're not going to keep these guys long term. Is it just a case of sell them, make your millions, and then rebuild from there?
I don't know much about Napoli, but I know that like Benfica are an example of a club where, and River Plate in South America, another good example where all of that money that they get from selling, your Enzo Fernandez's and your Julian Alvarez's, all that money goes into developing and finding the next big thing. So there's basically just this rinse and repeat of find a young player, bring him through, break him out to the world, sell him to Europe, make a shitload, reinvest that into more. So I'm assuming Napoli will probably do the same thing. I mean, Napoli have always had good players. Obviously they've got a lot of good young players at the moment. So yeah, I dare say they'll gut their team over the summer and start again, find the next big thing.
Another one that's linked to the Premier League, this one pretty heavily. Your boy, you no longer have. I think you sold because of European transfer risk, and he's gone on to score about 6 dark greens in a row. Grimaldo from Benfica, heavily linked with Arsenal, Fulham, and Nottingham Forest. 27, playing for Benfica. I could definitely look at those greens. Oh my god,
he is the GOAT. I mean, I don't think anyone has performed as well as this guy this year. Like, hundreds for fun, dark greens. I mean, oof, he's like a rich English spinach, this guy. He's so dark green.
What?
But as you can see, he's priced at only 0.67. So I think people are starting to get the picture that this guy might not be around for very long. So
he's dead. dead!
maybe the slide has begun. But who knows? This could be one where I know Benfica want to keep him, so potentially there could be a last minute. The deal falls through, no one pays the money they need, and he could stick around and be scoring goals for another year or so. So, look, it's a very risky play, but
1 week extension.
yeah, just one more week. He's ours for another week. Potentially there's a bargain to be had, which I guess is the flip side of this conversation. Any of these players where the rumours are running around, I remember Hans Van Aken last transfer window. Everyone was saying he's going to West Ham. His price went from like 1.5 ETH down to 0.5 ETH, and I know that a bunch of people got a bunch of bargains that week because he ended up not going to West Ham, and he's still at Bruges. Granted, not performing very well, but yeah, for those people with strong stomachs who want to take a few gambles, now's the time.
Another one, this is a man that's close to your heart. João Mario, also linked to guess who? Man United.
Don't you dare. Which João Mario? Are you sure it's the Benfica one?
I'm pretty sure on this one, mate.
Okay.
What shirt is he wearing there?
I mean, he's wearing his Lokomotiv Moscow jersey. I mean, this guy's ridiculous. He was so underpriced for so long. I'm so glad I picked one up. He has been crushing, but I've got to admit, I have been thinking lately, 0.72, I could probably avoid some headaches if I can get rid of this guy in the next couple of weeks. So who knows? It might make me very, very sad.
The title of this week's video is When It Hurts Too Much to Live.
I know that he's signed with Benfica for a while, so they'd have to pay a transfer fee to get him out, but he could very quickly, go and die somewhere.
He's dead!
He's probably one of the most frustrating players in my Sorare history because I wanted to get him badly. This was before he went on that massive run, and I had Zella and I wanted to sell Zella to get him, and they were the same price. Couldn't sell Zella because they just announced the Premier League, and then since then he's gone and done that, and just this most incredible run of dark greens. And every week it's just so hard seeing that notification come through and what could have been, Moving on. The next one is now correct. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But am I right in saying that I've seen some rumours of Wendell from Zenit to Arsenal?
Well, I think you could probably bundle all the Zenit boys into this camp. I mean, he's going for 0.585, which is pretty ridiculous. I mean, he hasn't scored that well the first 2 weeks back. Well, 62 and 50 without a decisive. It's not bad.
What a snob. Yeah,
yeah, no. What a loser. I think Wendell is definitely one. I know Wilmar Barrios is looking to leave and go to the Premier League, and I think Malcolm is looking at going to the PSG. So I think, if you're a team as good as Zenit that are just destroying everyone, and I think if we're being honest, if you're a player in Russia right now, you probably, the idea of going to Spain or Paris or even, Nottingham is pretty appealing. So I, certainly wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of a clean house at Zenit over the next couple of months.
Another one that's been confirmed is, this one's actually been pen to paper, and Cuckoo's going to Chelsea. Another player that Chelsea have signed. Ridiculous.
He went to Chelsea quite a while ago. But he's been injured.
Oh, okay. Yep.
You heard it here first, guys. Breaking news. Nkunku signed for Chelsea
Man United
4 months ago.
Hi guys, Alistair here. I'd just like to interrupt this podcast to let you know that I am an idiot. Turns out, Nkunku did not sign with Chelsea 4 months ago. In fact, Simon was right on the money in that he is just about to sign a contract with Chelsea. Once again, I'm an idiot. Sorry for the interruption.
Shit.
Oh dear.
Okay, I was doing so well up to that point. There's always bound to be one. given, to be fair, I started off with a guy from the wrong team. Daniel Munoz from Genk. He's been performing well in the Jupiler League. Where's he going? Is he staying? Is he moving clubs in Belgium? Is he going to move to Europe and just be rubbish?
Are you just trying to hurt me? Are you just literally listing all of my players?
Mate, you're living on the edge. You need to wake up to yourself. Go buy some shitty MLS players.
I mean, you're right. MLS is always the answer. He's going for very cheap, considering how in form him and Genk have been. He hasn't been scoring that well lately, but he's been one of the best performers all season. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I have heard that he could go to Brazil, in which case it's probably not great either. But I definitely prefer he stays at Genk.
I think the problem with those Belgian players is that they're at that level where they're good and like it's a good quality league, but they're not quite good enough that when they do get that move to a better European club, they kind of just suck. Like they really need to like go to like, they're kind of in that weird ground, if that makes sense. Like if you're in the MLS, it's pretty rare you're going to go straight from MLS to Prem or something like that. But these guys, they're kind of in that in-between level.
Yeah, these are the kind of guys that are going to get their big move to Celta Vigo and just be awful. So from an SO5 point of view. So yeah, you're right. Belgian players are always, unless they're like young wonder kids who play for Bruges, most of the time, you know, they're gonna get a bit of a great move for them. Congratulations to them.
They always say congratulations.
But terrible for SO5. So yeah, I think if you just look through the entire list of challenger players, anyone who's in semi-decent form, you know, tread carefully.
That's the hardest thing. I reckon challenge is probably one of the hardest divisions to play, because it's like if your guys do well, that's great, but that probably means they're going to get a move. You want them to do well, but not too well.
That's right. You really want to try and find those elder statesmen who are completely finished in their career and they're just content to go back home to Belgium and destroy. You know, you want your Jan Vertonggens, you want your Carlos Heel in the MLS, you know, you want your Burak Yilmaz. You want those kind of players where the high life is over for them. All they want to do is destroy the Farmers League on the weekend.
Yeah, it's the life. One more that I want to touch on, and this one's actually getting a move all the way from MLS to Europe, is not that he's performing that well. Paul Areola to Swansea.
Really?
Were you expecting that?
Well, I can't say I'm heartbroken. No, I was not. Paulie boy. Okay, so what do you think happens to Paul Areola in Swansea?
I think he's going to be rubbish. I don't think he's that good anyway. But hey, you never know. There could be a Paul Areola owner listening to this pod. You gotta look out for the minorities.
I remember Paul Areola, and I think he did it this season as well. Like he started last season with just a run of decisives, and everyone was like, Paul Areola's the next big thing. Let's see what his price went to. And he's since, you know, he rolls out a decisive once every like 6 games. So, but let's have a look here. Yeah, there it is. So you see that nice big middle finger there? 0.65 someone paid for Paul Areola back in June last year. Didn't work out that well.
Stings
the nostrils.
Look, I had a few good ones, mate. There was, I think that pretty much wraps up my scouting. Have you got any other big names that are on your radar of getting moves?
You did a great job. Look, I mean, you've actually covered quite a lot of mine. What I thought I'd do, so I'll rattle off a couple others that I think people should be worried about. I won't go into too much depth. Orkan Kokcu from Feyenoord. I think he's been kind of expected to make a move for a while. I think Newcastle are interested in him, where I don't think he's going to get that many minutes. You know, he's certainly not going to be taking sets off Trippier and stuff like that. So Kokcu definitely would look out for him. Jesper Karlsson and Pavlidis from AZ. I think Karlsson's been waiting for a move for years and years, so hopefully that'll be around the corner for him. Thiago Almada and Alan Velasco from the MLS. I think Almada there's no way he's in the MLS come July. There's just no way. He's been just way too good for the MLS.
I think you're better than me, huh?
Xavi Simons at PSV. I think there's a clause that PSG can bring him back to the club, in which case he'll be dead again. Omar Soleil, not looking good, and Maxime de Kuiper, who's been crushing it for Westerlo. I believe he's going to be called back to Club Brugge, in which case he'll lose all sets and pens and all those great things that he's been doing. So
They're gone. They're all dead.
So keep an eye out. But I thought I'd also just do a little bit of a flip side and kind of, it's not all doom and gloom here on the Sorare Down Under podcast. We also like to look at things through the lens of hope. So here are a couple of players that could potentially rumoured to have moves that I think would be good from an SO5 standpoint. So first one on our list, let me just share that screen again. Boop. First one on our list is a man I know that we've both very near and dear to. It's our boy Rudolph. Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer.
Sorry, mate. Can I just jump in really quickly? It was just really funny there when your screen popped up. You said, a man really close to our hearts, and it was just Paul Areola.
I mean, Paul is always close to our hearts. But no, Paul, I'm sorry. It's all about the reindeer, man. So, as we all know, Tijani went on a bit of a run last year. You had probably the proudest moment of your Sorare career when you bought his limited, flipped it for a massive profit, bought it back again, and then flipped it once more. I think that was pretty much like your Wolf of Wall Street moment. But now there may be another opportunity for you again. Young Tijani has been linked with Ajax, and we know full well how well players who go to Ajax typically do, as long as they're starting. He could be a bit of an AA machine over there at Ajax if they, continue to dominate the way they have the last month or so. So, could be a good one to look at. Only 0.239 for the rare right now, which I think is pretty good compared to what he was, a couple of months ago. And yeah, if he gets that move, that could be massive.
And worst case, he just stays at AZ. And once Carlson leaves, he becomes should crush again.
Yeah, or he goes to, Southampton and sucks. A couple of others here. So these are mostly older players that, have a bit past their glory days. But as we know with the old Bulls, like we just said, they return to nicer pastures and destroy until their old age. I think everyone's probably been waiting for this move for a couple of years, but I think Eden Hazard could finally make his move from Real Madrid to somewhere a little bit more, a little bit softer on the old ankles. I could totally see him being a, big MLS signing, at Inter Miami or Atlanta or something like that. I can totally see Eden Hazard there. Same goes for Jesse Lingard. I think there's been rumours for him heading to LAFC in the past, which I would not be surprised by at all. I think he said he wants to be an actor or something. So, I mean, God knows, but good for LAFC if that one materialises. A couple that are a little bit less cynical, I suppose. Stefan De Vrij, currently playing for Milan, I believe. Yes, Inter Milan. I think his contract is expiring. He hasn't really been playing very much for Inter. He used to be a bit of a crusher, but then he kind of just fell out and hasn't really been playing like consistent minutes for them. I can totally see him going to either back to Holland and playing in the Eredivisie, or maybe going to like a lower level Serie A club. I can totally see him getting back to being like a real solid, 60 to 70 every week kind of player. The other one is Alphonso Davies. I think I saw an article recently saying he's pretty keen to go somewhere where he can get more consistent minutes. Now, you'd think typically if he's, crushing for Bayern, which he is, he's been getting consistent minutes. I don't know what he's complaining about.
I think he just wants to move back to Vancouver Whitecaps.
You're right. That's probably what it is. I mean, they did win the Champions CONCACAF League quarterfinal last week, so he probably saw that and was like, "Sign me up, boys. Sign me up."
How many CONCACAF quarterfinals have Bayern won? Answer me that. I'll just leave that there. All right, keep going. Just saying.
I love it. All right, rapid fire. We'll get through these last ones. I think Roberto Firmino could get a move back to Brazil. I think everyone's sick of seeing him at Liverpool. Time for you to go back to Brazil where you belong. I think Tony Kroos is not going to retire. I think...
Sorry, mate.
Orson
just
Lewis,
quickly,
yep.
Yeah, mate, imagine Roberto Firmino at St. Louis. It would be sick.
Oh, he's not going to knock the big man Klaus out of that striker position, is he?
Yeah, true. It's true. Sorry, I'm interrupting your rapid fire. Please proceed.
This is the slowest rapid fire ever. That's all right. There's only one more. Tony Kroos probably will end up, somewhere rubbish. So,
well, that was pointless.
Hundreds from Tony. Nothing but hundreds.
He'll retire, right? I think he'll retire.
Well, nah. I think he'll get a payday somewhere. It'll probably be Saudi Arabia, and I've just convinced everyone to spend money on something that will be worthless in a couple of weeks. But you never know. It could be the A-League.
A-League, yes.
Simon,
Tony.
Have we got the A-League yet?
Can somebody please tell me when is A-League?
Mate, there's still no A-League. I think we're running out of time, Alistair. We've got, we're starting to head in towards finals. I don't know if they want to drop cards right before finals time, but look, my Danny Vukovic is burning a hole in my pocket in my gallery. Remember you were talking about how I made the smart move with reindeers? Yeah, that's probably up there with my dumbest ones yet.
I mean, it just seems so illogical that the A-League hasn't been brought on yet. I mean, it's with all the issues they're having with Asia, you'd have, surely, now's the time. But like you said, the finals are coming up. Now's not the time. I don't know. It's maybe they'll do what they did with the Scottish Premier League and release the new cards just as the season is ending. But I don't know. It's starting to get a bit hard to keep the dream alive. I don't know about you.
At first, when we first started this segment, Alistair, it was like, oh, have we got the A-League? And I was like, haha, no, we don't. It's so funny. Now it's like, we don't have it. Like, seriously?
But I want it now!
It's not fun anymore.
I mean, just think about what you're doing to us, Nicholas. Just think about these tears.
Go fuck, Nicholas. Go fuck. Remember that.
Blip. All right, cool. Look, I mean, we're going to keep adding to this watch list. So anyone out there who's interested, follow it along. Anytime we see a rumor, we're going to add someone in there. I think now's the time to be, if you're risk averse, now is the time to be getting out of those kind of players that, if you think with common sense are probably going to get a move onto, bigger and better things. Think about what that's going to do for your Sorare gallery. And likewise, start looking out for those players where they're on the outer, they're not getting playing time, but they're really good quality players, because those are the types of players that can get a really favourable move and all of a sudden they're the captain of some Danish league team and they're killing it. So, look, plenty of opportunities out there. We're still a couple of months away from transfer time, but now's the time to be, planting some seeds or throwing some seeds out the window.
What?
It's good. And just to all those Paul Areola owners, hang in there, guys. I got you.
It's all going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
Okay. Well, let's wrap things up. We'll look at the...
Yeah, great minds think alike. Let's have a look at... I'm assuming you're going to say the weekend ahead? Yes. No?
You read my mind.
Please.
Turns out the internet isn't that great in jail. But we're getting there.
I wasn't sure if we were going on a super long, awkward pause or what's going on. Look, take the wheel, Elsa. Take it.
Okay. I'm taking it. All Okay, so look, weekend ahead.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
I'm not feeling confident. I don't know about you. I feel like all my good players it's almost worse that they're not just injured. I mean, I'm glad they're not injured, but it's like they're coming off an injury. Everyone's saying they should be fine, but you haven't seen them in the starting lineup yet, which is just such a terrifying place to be. I've lost all confidence in Sin Jin Ho, who rolled out a 43 over the weekend. I don't think the Opta guys are doing a good job over there because I can't imagine he's scoring that low. That's just not what Sin Jin does. But it makes me terrified to put him into a lineup. I don't know. I think my Asian boys are still gonna crush it again this week. But other than that, I'm a bit lost. What about you, Simon? Surely you've got 5 crushes ready to go. Tommy Hayes back from his osteoporosis. Are you putting him in?
Look, mate, it's the constant moral dilemma. I mean, I don't want to put, lock it down Joe, super glue Joe in, because surely you can't do, 4 or 5 clean sheets in a row, but hell, maybe you can. I don't know, man. My European goalkeeper, he's got an average lineup, so I think Buttery Joe goes in. Where my problem lies is I have some incredible matchups, like some AAA matchups coming up, but they're kind of split across my American boys and my European guys. I think I'm just going to have to go all in.
Tell me what's the best 5?
The best 5? Well, I think we're going to go Lock It Down Joe. He's no longer Buttery Joe. Lock It Down Joe.
Oh, it's all sticky.
I mean, Otamendi, he'll do Otamendi things. Sho Sasaki will do Sho Sasaki things. The problem lies in my moral dilemma that has plagued my season so far. Lucas Zorayan has a AAA matchup against Red Bulls, or I go Tommy Hay, who came off the bench last week. Do I welcome him back into the fold?
I mean, Tom Hay has a good matchup on paper. It scares me to see all those kind of people predicting that he's not going to be starting, but I really can't see why not. Like, he's their guy. Might need to do a bit of digging into that one and see what's going on. If I were you, I think I'd be going Tommy Hay over Zeller. Yeah, it does make it a little bit tricky for you. I can see that though. I think maybe you're going to need to go do what you did last week and have like your all-star team.
Yeah, look how that turned out for me.
Go on.
Fucking hopeless. Excuse the language.
Yes, but we did have this conversation last week where we were talking about the virtues of Tom Hay versus Lucas Zelarayan, and with Tom Hay, you know what you're going to get. You're not getting a 33 from Tommy Boy, but Zelarayan could, he's up and down. So I think if you've got good matchups, I think you've got to go with that consistency in there, and then go a little bit more kind of balls to the wall in your 270 or your American team or whatever you choose to put out.
The problem with Buttery Joe becoming my number 1 goalkeeper is that I can't run an American lineup. It would be so much easier if I could run American and be like, all right, Buttery Joe, Mina, Zeller, Zampedri, like, awesome. But then this 270 stuff, man, it's so hard. And don't even get me started on 250. That shit is ridiculous. It's impossible. 250 is impossible. How about our boy Claudio Bravo coming out? Yes, he gets a start. Yay. Yay, Claudio Bravo. 10? Are you kidding me? 10 points? Go back to the bench, Claudio. Goodness. Furious.
He's hurting me, but look, he's our boy. He does this to us every year. He's up, he's down, he's all over the shop. But I mean, that's MLS, so you can't really blame him too harshly.
Mate, I can't even hit 250 points with a clean sheet, 2 goals from my striker, and I still can't hit 250. Why do we not have captains? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think they've got to change that. I haven't hit 250 since they brought in the threshold. I mean, I've had some terrible luck that my 240 team is just plagued every week with someone DNPing. yeah, it is tough. I think they either need to let people use their experience, like their XP, or they need to make a captain. They don't have to do like 50% bonus. That's ridiculous. But just like a 20% captain bonus would just make all the difference for those players who are trying to get that threshold. I think it's probably a little bit on the hard side, but you know, it like I said, there's a fine line between people who are just complaining because they suck versus people who, you know, whether it is legitimately hard. But I mean, one of your players got a 10, so you know, go fuck.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then my captain got a red card. Yeah, robbed, mate. Look, I don't know. I got a lot to work out. I got to spend some time nutting out these lineups, but I'm not filled with hope, mate. I'm filled with dread ahead of this weekend, to be honest.
Oh dear. All right. Well, look, I can't wait to see how it all rolls out. I can't wait for us all to get horrible rewards next weekend to make up for the good ones we got this week. Hopefully, today's discussion was useful for anyone out there. We are going to have to start asking people to like and subscribe as much as it pains us because none of you can see this stuff. So get out there, give us a comment, tell us some great facts about Wolfsburg.
Yep, I got
we'll
none
love
of
you
that,
forever.
But all right, thanks everyone. Like you said, like and subscribe. Make sure you're tuned in. Follow us on Twitter. Ali comes up with some brilliant content like go fuck. One last little bleep out there for you, mate, in edit. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.